Hi everyone, I'm Mark from Indie Practices. One of the most common missteps I see leaders making is undermanaging their team. They're reluctant to give them feedback, and they claim they don't have enough time to be meeting with them one-on-one. Today, we're going to be talking about why one-on-one meetings are so important, and I'll give you some simple tools to turn your one-on-one meetings into a game changer for you and for your team. First, let's talk about why one-on-ones are so important. As the leader, your most critical responsibility is to manage your team. You need to make sure expectations are clear, you need to manage your team's performance by giving feedback, and you need to check in with your team members. One-on-one meetings are your best tool to do this. I often hear leaders say they don't have enough time to be meeting with their team members, but the truth is, you'll spend far less time in one-on-one meetings than you will putting out fires and solving problems if you don't hold these meetings. Be courageous, set up the one-on-one meetings with your team members. You'll be glad you did. Here are a few guidelines for how to set these meetings up. First, these meetings should be calendared in advance. Don't just hold them whenever you can find the time. Set aside time on your and your team members' calendars so you know that time is sacred. For most one-to-one meetings, I recommend meeting every week for about 30 to 40 minutes. If you think this isn't manageable, you can schedule the meetings every other week, but at least hold them once every 2 weeks. Meeting monthly is not enough. Too many things happen inside of a month. When you set up your one-on-ones, be sure to communicate the purpose of the meetings. Tell your team, I care about you, I want to check in with you, and I want to make sure you're supported. These meetings will be an opportunity for us to check in with each other and make sure we're on the same page. Be sure to have a set agenda that is established in advance. I recommend having a digital agenda that both people have access to and can add questions and items to in advance. This way, each person is accountable for being prepared and for being thoughtful about what will be discussed at the meeting. Let's take a look at what actually needs to happen in your one-on-ones. Here are 5 things you should aim to accomplish when you're meeting with your team members. One-to-one meetings are a great way to build rapport with your team members. A good way to do this is to open up the meeting with a check-in. This can be something simple as asking someone how their weekend was, or you can get creative by sharing stories or recent fun photos with each other. Next, ask supportive questions like, how has this week been going for you? Use open-ended questions. Your goal here is to get the team member to reflect and explain how they view their own development. Giving and receiving feedback should happen at every one-on-one. We call this give one, get one. You should have observational feedback for the person, and you should ask them to come prepared to the meeting with some feedback for you. Examples of feedback they might give you could be something like, I really loved the way you opened last week's team meeting, or the expectations you set for me this week are not super clear. Can you re-explain them to me? In giving feedback to your team member, you should be prepared to really invest some time in practicing the skill that you're giving feedback on. For example, if you give feedback on phone skills, you may want to listen to some actual phone calls or role play going through a phone call together. Skill development and feedback should be the bulk of your one-on-one meeting time and is really the most important thing that happens when you hold these meetings. Finally, finish each one-on-one with clear action steps. You should discuss these together, be sure to put them down on the agenda, and set aside time to review those action steps the next time you meet. One final tip, avoid canceling your one-on-ones. Canceling a one-on-one sends a message that that person's development is not a priority for you. Even if you feel like you don't have that much to talk about, sit down, go through the agenda, reflect, and check in. This time should be sacred. Be sure to check out the resource packet that's linked below, along with the sample agenda that you can use for yourself. At Indie Practices, we love talking about feedback, leadership, and culture, so please reach out to us if you have any questions or thoughts. Thanks for watching, and have a great meeting.